Before we get into the Kyle Rittenhouse portion of the video, we gotta go back, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, yeah, when the Patriot Purge Documentary, when that was first getting released out there, Tucker Carlson was putting that on, and that's all about the January 6th protesters that are getting needlessly jailed and put into solitary confinement for long stretches of time, even longer than most of the charges would have for the punishment themselves, so it really doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. So I'm glad somebody's at least looking into that with a high enough budget and enough of a distribution channel to make a difference. But apparently that doesn't sit well with some people formerly of Fox News. Oh my God. Never Trumpers Jonah Goldberg and Stephen Hayes. Oh no, what great bastions of intelligence and knowledge Fox News is going to be missing out on. Wow, however will they survive? Quit Fox News. They were just fucking meaningless contributors, by the way. Fox News in protest of Tucker Carlson's January 6th documentary. We don't want the truth out there. Truth sucks. We want a narrative. Famous Never-Trumpers Jonah Goldberg and Stephen Hayes quit as contributors of the Fox News in protest of Tucker Carlson's January 6th documentary, suggesting the Capitol Hill riot may have been sparked by the FBI. Well, you know, it's not like that isn't right up the Fed's alley. Just saying. In late October, as Carlson's documentary hit the subscription service Fox Nation, Jonah Goldberg sent a text to Stephen Hayes wondering if he should quit the network and then join up with the Lincoln Project and touch kids. I'm tempted just to quit Fox over this. Oh my God. I'm game. Oh, is that the GA word that your phone automatically autocorrects to, Hayes? Oh, that's interesting. Totally outrageous. It will lead to violence. I'm not sure how we can stay. Yeah, you guys should really talk over your exit plan over a bottle of wine and underneath the blankets while watching You've Got Mail. Speaking with the New York Times, of course, Hayes and Goldberg said that they stayed on as contributors at Fox News despite their Never Trump stance. Oh, cool, you're in good company at Fox News. In hopes that they could help right the ship. Ugh. After the former president exited the White House. Yeah. Teach them how to lose with dignity again, right? See if Mitt Romney wants to run again in 2024. Fucking worthless hacks. Those hopes were dashed on the arrival of Patriot Purge, Tucker Carlson's documentary. So one documentary pushed you over the edge. Cool. To crack down... Oh, right. Sorry, got ahead of myself there. Exploring January 6th and how the riots were allegedly being used by the Biden administration to crack down on patriotic Americans. Goldberg said the documentary was evidence that people made peace this direction of things and that there's no plan, at least, that anyone made me aware of this for a course correction. Oh, whatever. Just fuck off and cry into your boyfriend's belly button. Hayes, editor-in-chief at the now defunct Weekly Standard, worried about the documentary could lead to people believing that there is a domestic war on terror and that it's coming for half of the country. Well... Oh, that's not true. Oh, thanks. The imagery of waterboarding and suggesting that half of the country is going to be subject to this type of treatment. It's the same kind of treatment that the federal government used when it went after the Al-Qaeda. Very successfully as well, right? Carlson pumped that stuff into our society, and all you need is one person out of every 50,000 people to watch it and believe it's literally the story about what happened. And that's not true in all of its particulars and all of the insinuations, he added, and that's truly dangerous in the way the usual hyperbole that you get on a lot of cable news isn't. Yeah, sure, whatever, fuck off and just go be a CNN contributor and just say, oh my God, I just couldn't believe how bad those people at Fox News were. Don't really care. But yeah, Patriot Purge probably got like huge fucking numbers anyways, and Tucker Carlson is like the one bright shining light on the cable news in just general. So hey, I don't know, set up a Substack and then just get a couple of fucking days worth of subscription, you fucking tired hacks. Don't really care. But what else was Tucker Carlson up to? Well, he had at least to my knowledge, like the exclusive interview with Kyle Rittenhouse afterwards, and there are a lot of insights that came out of that, and I think it's gonna really tell you the direction that the kid's gonna be heading. So, a couple of headlines coming out of this. So, Rittenhouse, my case shouldn't have been political. It really shouldn't have been. It was about the right to self-defense on trial. Yeah, no shit. I think that's what I was banging off every time we were talking about the trial itself and not the surrounding insanity. It was a clear-cut case. I think everybody who at least watched the video could see that that's pretty much textbook self-defense, okay? And if that was going to be on trial, it's going to be a tough way through, but at least the right people won out on this instance. During an interview that aired on Monday's edition of the Fox News channel's Tucker Carlson Tonight, Rittenhouse said that his case was about self-defense. It shouldn't have been a political case. It was made a political case, and this has nothing to do with race. Yeah, exactly. Especially the people that were injured and the two people that were killed were white, and Rittenhouse has like a Hispanic blood, so it's really fucking weird that it's about white supremacy by those weirdos that are out there, but hey, whatever. Rittenhouse said, I've never seen something so polarizing in my life. When it's obvious self-defense. If you look at the case, you look at the facts, no matter what your opinion is, where you stand on it, this wasn't a political case. It wasn't until Drew Hernandez ended up taking the stand, and then Binger, Fluffer Boy 2004, he decided that he wanted to start to bring up the whole political aspect of things because his case was emulating like a fucking monk in Tibet. It has nothing to do with race, and the way people are twisting it isn't. It's just sickening. He later added, it wasn't Kyle Rittenhouse that was on trial in Wisconsin. It was the right to self-defense on trial. And I was convinced no one would ever be privileged to defend their life against attackers. No, it was white supremacy in action, and clearly he's just the bad guy. There's a couple more statements as well. We're not done here quite yet. He also put stupid Linwood and stupid John Pierce on blast as well, justifiably so. I spent 87 days in jail because Linwood and John Pierce used me to raise money for their own benefit. And now they're trying to reclaim his $2 million in bail because, you know what? Hey, some credit to Wood and Pierce, obviously. Their organization raised the $2 million, mostly because Ricky Schroeder, I think he donated $500,000 as well to the release. And now they're trying to reclaim that $2 million, which they never would have raised if Kyle Rittenhouse's name wasn't emblazoned over the Fight Back organization. So I think that money should probably go to Kyle. But again, these are a bunch of destitute people because Linwood, I think, still has a bunch of pending court cases against him because he's a fucking nut job. And then John Pierce, same boat, okay? Those guys are they lost the plot a long time ago. And then Rittenhouse, like I've been talking about before, the kid's going to be basically unemployable, okay? Not for anything that he did. He exercised perfect self-defense. The jury of his peers found him as such. It's just his name has been totally slandered by this. Let's see what he had to say about Pierce and Wood. Rittenhouse said that he was used for a cause by his former attorneys, Lynn Wood and John Pierce, and said that he stayed in jail longer than he needed to because Wood and Pierce were trying to raise money so that they can take for their own benefit, not trying to set me free. I would tend to agree. I was in jail for 87 days, and this follows in with Linwood, who Linwood was raising money on my behalf and held me in jail for 87 days, disrespected my wishes, put me on media interviews, which I should have never done, which he said, you're going to talk to the Washington Post, which was not a good idea. Along with John Pierce, they said I was safer in jail instead of my home with my family. What the fuck? If that's true, oof. He added that his time in jail was 87 days of not being with my family for defending myself and being taken advantage of, being used by a cause by John Pierce and Linwood, trying to trying to raise money so that they can take it for their own benefit, not trying to set me free. Rittenhouse further stated that he could have been out of jail by mid-September, but his lawyers wanted to keep him in jail until November 20th. Huh. God, that's so fucked. I guess that must have been a part of the plan that Linwood kept fucking pimping out there. So now we're going to get into the defamation claims, because I already set up the fight back lawsuits that are going to be happening. And again, I think that $2 million or whatever, minus court fees and all that other fucking fine shit, should probably go to Kyle, obviously, because that's money that directly went to support him. But now we got to get into the defamation cases, and boy, do we got a long list of shit. And again, something else that I've heard from this interview, and again, I might have to go back and watch the interview itself, But he also, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of people that are still in this kid's ear, and it's a really fucked situation. David Hancock, who's also running the Free Kyle USA website and all that kind of stuff as well, another fundraising campaign. He's been also behind the scenes pulling the strings of this entire operation. After Wood and Pierce ended up exiting, thankfully, way back when. Kyle might have also said that I also support Black Lives Matter, and I really didn't want this to become, like it was touched on in the first one as well, that he didn't want it to become a left and right issue. It was about self-defense. And again, don't placate to Black Lives Matter if in fact you did say that, because they don't care. They're not going to hear that. That's only going to besmirch your character, and if you're getting led down that line, it's just a dangerous road of placation that you need not travel. Let's talk about Biden calling him a white supremacist, shall we? Biden attacked my character with actual malice. I have lawyers looking into the lies about me. Oh, I hope so. I fucking hope so. Rittenhouse urged President Joe Biden to watch his trial and understand the facts before you make a statement. Rittenhouse also said Biden calling him a white supremacist is actual malice. Fair enough. And that he has his attorneys looking into holding people who have spread falsehoods about him accountable. It's just going to be tough, though. Mr. President, if I could say one thing to you, I would urge you to go back and watch the trial and understand the facts before you make a statement. He added that Biden calling him a white supremacist was actual malice, defaming my character for him to say something like that. It's not really textbook. It's something that you can actually sue on. It's an opinion statement, okay? So calling somebody a racist or a white supremacist or whatever fucking hack shit that people are throwing out there nowadays, those are all opinion statements, okay? You can't really sue on those, but making actual false claims or saying that somebody committed a crime, like, oh, I don't know, Bill de Blasio saying that he took a firearm across state lines that he wasn't allowed to hold and possess, that's defamation. You can sue on that one. Rittenhouse also criticized the media coverage, saying that it's actually quite hysterical how nobody can go back and look at the facts of the case. They don't want to, Kyle, and I think you already know that. You cross state lines. False. He's a white supremacist. False. None of that is true. And lies they can just get away with spreading. It's just sickening, and it's a disgrace to this country. Based. After the subject of holding people who lied him accountable came up, Rittenhouse stated, I have really good lawyers who are taking care of that right now, so I'm hoping one day there will be accountability for the actions that they did. I hope so. And Breitbart, okay, they've assembled quite the list of people that Rittenhouse can sue. Okay, and then pointing out the right counts of defamation. It's a long article, and I would encourage you guys to go over this as well, and we're just going to hit on a bunch of these. Not all of them, though, because it's a long and extensive list here. Rittenhouse trial began long before he ever set foot into the court. Rittenhouse is arguably pronounced guilty in the court of public opinion by corporate media, Democrat politicians and activists, Hollywood celebrities, even during and after the trial. And the full story became widely and publicly apparent. A sort of collusion took place to mystify the truth. Now acquitted of all charges, including several homicide charges, 18-year-old Rittenhouse has come to another crossroads. Will he spend more time in court to hold accountable the people and companies who defamed him? He's basically going to have to. If the courts were to conclude that Rittenhouse is what is called a limited public figure, Rittenhouse would have to prove that these companies and individuals acted with actual malice, that is, with reckless disregard for the truth. And because, he's become so publicized, he would in fact be a limited public figure, if not just a full-out public figure. So the bar for defamation is set pretty high, so you have to allege that he committed an actual crime in order to meet the threshold for defamation. For some false allegations, he would have to show how they damaged his reputation, but specific claims where he was wrongly accused of a felony, factual errors would no doubt damage his reputation. See, that's the difference. Since many high-profile people voiced their thoughts before, during, and after the trial, it would be an extremely long article to list everyone who has ever defamed Rittenhouse, but they're sure as fuck going to give it a try, right? Media and tech companies, so CNN. Almost assuredly, there would be a few examples of the reckless coverage from the far-left CNN outlet, but here are a few. On August 31st, 2020, a few days after the shootings, CNN published a story on the website titled "Trump Refuses to Denounce Violent Actions by Right-Wing Agitators." What? Social media accounts believed to belong to Rittenhouse portray a young white man. Is that his 4 Doors More Horrors account on TikTok? Listen, that should be his YouTube channel, and he should just be doing anything he wants on there. Easily, overnight, 1 million subscribers. 100%, without a doubt. With an affinity for guns who support Blue Lives Matter, and Trump asked if he agrees with armed vigilantes like Rittenhouse. Oh, that sucks. Taking to the streets. Trump said he'd like to see law enforcement take care of everything, but didn't condemn the vigilantism. Yeah, obviously it would continue to go on, but on November 12th, 2021, a few days before the acquittals were levied, CNN's Don Lemon hosted a segment in which he and his guests grossly mischaracterized the case and allowed several factual errors on air without correction, mostly because he's too stupid to really figure anything out. He's a purposefully dumb man. So a transcript from the segment here. So Lemon: the role of vigilantism, a key factor in the trials playing out in Wisconsin and in Georgia, the Ahmaud Arbery trial. But does it have to do with January 6th? Oh my god, these one-track mind motherfuckers. And the rioters who stormed the Capitol. Let's get right to it now. CNN political commentator Bakari Sellers and CNN legal analyst Elliot Williams. So you had 3 people on a panel not even know the facts of the case. That's cool. Good evening to both of you. Happy Friday, Bakari. I want you to look at all of the people at the center of these incidents, the January 6th insurrectionists. How many people have been charged with insurrection? Oh, okay, 0. Rittenhouse and the 3 men charged in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. What do you see in the through line? I think, Don, you pointed out something in the word vigilantism. Nothing correct. Complete and utter mistruths there. What you're seeing is individuals that are taking what they believe to be misdeeds into their own hands. Wrong. You have people in Kenosha, or Rittenhouse in Kenosha, allowing his mom to take him across state lines with an AR-15. Wrong. Alleging he committed a felony. Go after Bakari Sellers, go after CNN, go after Don Lemon. Obviously, you could just troll through the fucking back catalog of CNN articles when it comes to Rittenhouse, and there's several instances as well. How about CBS? In a now deleted tweet, I think we highlighted this one as well, said Rittenhouse admitted to murdering 2 men in self-defense. Rittenhouse testified in his own murder trial. Yes, it was. Yesterday, breaking down in tears as he told the jury he murdered 2 men at a Black Lives Matter protest. That's what was happening for the 3rd consecutive night in Kenosha. It was a protest. Company seemingly realized its mistake, though undoubtedly hundreds, if not thousands or millions and millions of people out there saw the original post. And yeah, several people. And then I also highlighted, I forget exactly what video. How about MSNBC? Remember, they were thrown out of the courtroom because they had one of their freelance journalists out there try to follow and dox the jurors on the jury bus. So on November 16th, MSNBC's Joy Reid, who has been most affected by the acquittal, I'm pretty sure she is still spurging out in that hotel room. Joy Reid did a segment comparing the Rittenhouse trial to the Arbery trial and asked if the cases will serve as proof that white men can act as executioners. She's an idiot. She also called Rittenhouse a teenage vigilante. The title of MSNBC's YouTube clip in the segment is also titled Joy Reid. 2 cases will tell us if armed, primarily white men. Oh, okay, so that's a way that you can dismiss a mixed background, I guess. So I guess I'm a primarily white man. Can be judge, jury, and executioner. Oh, and seems to assume guilt. Yeah. MSNBC's Joe Scarborough. Oh, right, yes, claimed Rittenhouse's mother drove him across state lines, which is just, I think it's been debunked on like the first day of the trial, but whatever, before unloading 60 rounds. What a fucking retard. Scarborough also said Rittenhouse appointed himself a militia member. No, and in fact, that was one of the very few objections that was raised by the defense during the entire trial. Whenever the term militia came up, they objected to it, well, at least once for one video, and then they were kind of lax about it going forward, but there was no militias that were there that night. Duh. Twitter and television do not necessarily attract the same audience or demographic. Scarborough's online retraction got a few hundred reactions at most compared to the probably 500,000 to a million views on television. Let's not give him that much credit. This is obviously wrong to anyone following the case for more than a minute. I meant to say he unloaded his rounds in about 60 seconds. I'm sure you did, Joe. That's nice. What about the Daily Beast? Oh, yes. Their editor-in-chief, Rick Wilson, right? Head of the Kid Touchers at the Lincoln Project. So yeah, obviously, they'd have something to say about the 17-year-old, at the time, Rittenhouse, teen vigilante killed unarmed Kenosha protesters who threw a plastic bag at him. Court documents. Oh yeah. Cool. New York Times, one of the most indirect. Oh, this one is more indirect, but the New York Times is accused of burying a story until after the 2020 election, which detailed the extent of the violence during the Kenosha riots. Yeah, just because they suppressed it doesn't mean everybody else didn't, but it could be argued that the alleged intentional repression of facts, which could influence the way that the public sees the Rittenhouse case, is extremely damaging. The void created could be a lack of correct information, arguably allowed a lie to spread that Rittenhouse went to Kenosha to terrorize peaceful protesters. Theoretically, but that's pretty weak. But I guess, you know what, hey, how many active cases are currently against the New York Times? What's another one, right? ABC News, all right, so in October of 2020, ABC News referred to Rittenhouse as an alleged white supremacist. Again, it's just a statement of opinion, so you can't really go after them for that. Rittenhouse, an alleged white supremacist accused of killing two protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in the wake of an officer-involved shooting, appeared via Zoom for an Illinois hearing where his attorney contested the teen's extradition to Wisconsin to face homicide and other charges in connection with the August shootings, obviously. ABC has edited the piece, and yeah, whatever. Facebook, this one could be interesting. In September 2020, Facebook officially labeled Rittenhouse's actions as mass murder. No, that doesn't even remotely fit the statute. I think it's 3 or 4 people need to die in order for it to be a mass murder, but that's alright, it's Facebook. You guys do you. Even though he had not been convicted of any such crimes. Yup, the tech company proceeded to censor posts made in support of Rittenhouse. Remember? Facebook spokesperson confirmed that the company is removing posts in support of Rittenhouse because of the incident. It is considered a mass murder by the company. Oh, so they're judge, jury, and executioner. We've designated the shooting in Kenosha as a mass murder and are removing posts in support of the shooter, including this one. The company has not said whether it's changed its policy since Rittenhouse was acquitted on all charges, but I'm sure a nice defamation suit will probably get them to fucking right the ship there. Notable Democrat politicians. Oh, we've already talked about Cori Bush, but let's talk about some of her squad mates as well. On August 26, 2020, a day after the shooting, Presley took to Twitter, called Rittenhouse a terrorist. Oh, I think that could be misconstrued, or at least properly interpreted, one way or another, that terrorism is probably an illegal act, so I don't know, probably should get her to fly right. What about Ilhan Omar, old brother fucker? A domestic terrorist executed 2 people, and according to Tucker and his supporters, this is maintaining order. Their murderous rants have inspired many mass shooters, my friend. And now they aren't even trying to distance themselves from it. They are excusing it. Allah help us. Cori Bush, yeah, we already talked about her. She went fucking mental. Eric Swalwell, yes, when he isn't fucking face deep in some CCP snatch. He more or less called Rittenhouse a terrorist because, of course, these people are very, very original. Jamal Bowman. Oh, okay, cool. Another smart individual. Tweeted about Rittenhouse saying Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who were campaigning at the time, needed to condemn domestic terrorists looking to incite a race war, says the race hustler. And Joe Biden, yes, white supremacist, obviously. Oh yes, and Stacey Abrams, when she's not continuing to try to reverse the outcome of the 2018 Georgia gubernatorial election, saying that Rittenhouse was a murderer. Colin Kaepernick, I think we touched on him as well. Yeah, Pedro Pascal. Can't really sue him for lionizing a domestic abuser and a pedophile, but whatever. Rosanna Arquette, I think she was also there as well. So what are the next steps for Kyle? Well, the idea that Rittenhouse could specifically sue media companies for defamation began to gain momentum after Nicholas Sandmann penned a column in the Daily Mail exploring that very possibility. Sandmann himself has settled a $275 million lawsuit against CNN. he didn't get the $275 million. He would have got something a little bit less, but still significant fucking change. In 2020, over the network's coverage of the confrontation involving himself and his classmates and a Native American man, fuck was his name? I don't even remember. Scope Chugger 368. Man, during a school trip to Washington, D.C., the attacks on Kyle came from the national news media, just as they came from me, Sandman wrote it. He later continued, Kyle should be prepared for a long trial, which will present in his mind for years. I personally am still involved in 6 media lawsuits as January approaches, marking 3 years since the confrontation took place at the March for Life. So if Kyle is prepared to take on another burden in his early life, with the acceptance that it might result in nothing, I answer, give it a shot and hold the media accountable. Fucking A right. Following Rittenhouse's acquittal, hashtag defamation was even trending on Twitter, which means it's serious, with thousands of users calling for accountability. According to a town hall report, a Rittenhouse spokesman, David Hancock, hinted that accountability in the form of lawsuits might be coming, and then also in the form of the interview that he just gave with Tucker Carlson a couple days ago. So let's see where it goes after this. I'd imagine he's probably going to be taking the holidays off, so maybe these lawsuits will be flying in the new year, but I'll be paying attention for that. But with that said, guys, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.